Hi and welcome. This is Megan with Yoga to You Wellness. In this video, we are going to go through a series of self-myofascial techniques, including foam rolling and also some stretching to help improve the mobility around the ankle. But let's first talk quickly about movements around the ankle. And the main two movements around the ankle are dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion, you might hear people say flex your foot. We're bringing our toes closer to our shin. This is controlled mainly by the muscles along the front, the anterior tibialis, which is right along the tibialis bone. And then we also have plantar flexion, which you may hear people say point your toes. And that is controlled by the contraction of these muscles along the back. The calf muscles, you might hear them called the gastrocnemius, the soleus, and also the posterior tibialis. We also have inversion and eversion of the foot, which is also right along the ankle. So if you think about my hand as my foot here, in eversion, the pinky toe lifts and the sole of the foot is away from the midline of the body. So big toe down, pinky toe up, that's eversion. Inversion is the opposite, is when the pinky toe heads toward the floor, the sole opens up to the midline of the body, and my big toe is heading up. These are controlled by the muscles along the sides of the legs. So we'll begin with some self-myofascial release today for the lower part of our leg. And what I have is a lacrosse ball, which you could use a tennis ball if you like. Lacrosse ball is a little more dense. You can get a little deeper in there with a lacrosse ball. You might want to start with something softer like the tennis ball. Both are great options. And my foam roller. So we're going to start on the calves. And actually we'll start with the foam roller, and then if I decide I want to get deeper, I'll bring out the lacrosse ball. But if you watch the other video, you remember how to foam roll the calves. I'm going to start with both on today. You can always start with one, placing the other foot on the floor, putting a little weight on the other. But I'm going to do both at the same time. And again, I'm rolling joint to joint, lifting my upper body up, paying attention that my core is engaged, creating that nice stable core. You also want to think about taking toes in and toes out. And what we're looking for, what we're feeling for, are any tender spots. And when we find one, hang out. And we might want to add a little extra pressure here, maybe stacking one leg on top of the other. What this tender spot probably is an adhesion. It's a trigger point. And if we add a little pressure, if you remember from the other video, it creates this reaction in the body that can help to release that trigger point so that we can have a nice smooth muscle again. So let's say you want to get a little deeper into the calf. So if you have your lacrosse ball or your tennis ball and a block or a book or something to give you a little bit more leverage, you would place the ball, lacrosse or tennis, on top of the block or the book, and then the calf on top. So the smaller diameter of the ball is going to get a little deeper into the calf. But we're doing the same type of thing here, working maybe joint to joint, looking for those tender spots. When you find one, hang out for a little while. See if you can get it to release. The other leg on the floor here can be used to take some of the weight. So really you're in control of how much pressure is going into the calf. So I could seriously spend a long time working on the calves, but we're going to move on for the sake of time today onto the sides of the legs. So starting with the foam roller, I always like to start with the foam roller, and then if I want to get deeper, I can get out the other self-myofascial tools like the ball. But we turn on our side here, and again we're working ankle to knee, but we're on the side of the leg. So this back leg might come to the front so that I can lift some of the weight up here. And then again, I'm rolling ankle to knee. So tilting a little bit forward here to help get the side and a little bit into the front of the leg. If you need a little more, we can always stack the legs and roll here. Again, ankle to knee. So if after a few rounds, few passes you feel like you might want to get a little deeper, you can always grab your ball. And I like to work with the hand to start and just taking this along the side, putting a little pressure. If you have a rolling pin or even a weighted bar, this is great to use on the side of the leg. You would just roll it out like you would some dough, and it feels really good. But I will use the ball. And you can always here too, use your thumbs to dig in if you're not quite getting it with the ball or with the foam roller or any of the other rollers. And so I will switch sides from here. I'm just going to roll the foam roller to the other side of the mat. Again, my top leg is going to come in front so I can add some weight to that foot as I roll ankle to knee, knee to ankle. This side is much tighter, yay. Again, my core is still engaged here. Keeping a nice sturdy center. You might stay with the foam roller, or you might want to grab your ball. We'll be here for a couple more moments, working this outside of the leg. If you're finding any spots, hang out. You can always pause this video. Coming back when you feel like you've sufficiently worked the side of the leg. Okay, last little piece here of the self-myofascial release. This inner part of our leg, inner part of our lower leg, it is really hard to stretch, it's really hard to get to. The easiest thing I've found is to use my thumbs. And I'm really just finding the bone and then taking it a little bit lower, a little toward the back of my leg, and just pressing in and up a little. So I'm finding some compression in that muscle. For me, I know right away because the whole thing is pretty tender, but if yours doesn't feel tender, it might be perfectly healthy, and that's great. This is honestly something really great to do in the bath when your muscles are already relaxing and you can kind of get in there and help the lower part of the leg to release. So again, if you need a little more time with the foam rolling or any of the other self-myofascial release, pause the video and do that as long as you need. But when you're ready, coming back here, we'll find a couple of stretches here for the calves, for the back of the legs. So we're going to start this one in a tabletop, this first one. So knowing we can always place a blanket underneath the knees, we always want to protect the knees. Make sure that the core is engaged. From here, extending left foot back, we're going to tuck the left toes. And then what I'm doing, I'm already feeling a stretch in the calf, and I just start to press my body back here. So I am engaging the arms, pressing back. This is option one. You might come down onto the forearms for another option. If you're still looking for more, you might lift the right leg, stack ankle on ankle. Really lift the hips, finding a little more leverage here to press the back of the heel down. And breathe. So from here, I'm going to lower my back knee, my right knee, and then I'm going to find a little bend in the leg I'm stretching, in the knee that I'm stretching, and continue to press back. This might help us get a little deeper into the soleus, which is the inner muscle of the calf. As we press back, good. So I might straighten the leg one more time. And then lowering back down into the tabletop. I like to take a little release for the shoulders, a little shake, bend of the elbows, and then reposition again with belly in engaging the core, and this time I'll extend the right foot back, tucking right toes. I'm going to start right here, shifting my weight back, engaging the arms. And then if you want to, from here, come down onto the forearms maybe. And if you want, you can always stack left ankle on right, lifting hips, finding that little bit more leverage to press the heel down. Really steady breathing. We want to keep nice, even, calm breathing. We never want to create more tension. From here, I'm going to lower the left knee down and find that bend in the right, just a little bend, and continue to press back. And breathe. And then from here, I'll find a tabletop. Some sort of release, a little shake of the body, cat-cow maybe. Tucking toes from here to find the downward facing dog. So again, my core is engaged. I'm pressing back. Taking a few moments to pedal heels, bending one knee, pressing opposite heel down. See if I can get a little deeper here. So when we get into this stretch, we're also including the hamstrings as part of this stretch. If that's where you're feeling the tightness, that's fine too. And from the downward facing dog, I'm going to step my right foot between my hands to take a quarter turn so that I'm wide leg on my mat. From here, walking upper body forward, this is a wide leg downward facing dog. And then pressing back here. So what I'm doing from here, I'm taking heels out and toes in. So from the side, this looks like this. You can see my feet, good. Heels out, toes in, we press back. You might find a little arch in the lower back here. This is pulling on a different part of our calf, a different type of stretch here. The stretch saved me from plantar fasciitis. A lot of times, these trigger points can cause referred pain. So just because your trigger point is in the calf doesn't mean that's where you'll feel it. Plantar fasciitis is a lot of times caused by trigger points in the calf. So I'm going to take my heels back to neutral, walking hands back to center. I might walk back to the front of the mat, stepping back to a plank, lowering to the knees, and having a seat. I thank you guys very much for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Take care. Thank you.